Now, does this go live over YouTube?
Yep, right now. What's going on, everybody? It's Bill Bailey with today's Boondoggle on Domain Cleveland Radio, and excited to catch up with an old friend of mine, college mate, fellow veteran, and a guy that's pretty inspirational. You follow him on social media, and we're going to get into all that. But it's my buddy Ryan Cary. How you doing, Ryan?
Doing good. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, man. Like I said, you've had I followed your journey on social media. It's been pretty inspirational just seeing the transformation and everything from like the last time we actually hung out. And I want to get into all that stuff, but usually when I have somebody on for the first time, I like to get a little bit of a background. So like originally, what did you want to be when you grew up?
An astronaut.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure did.
What inspired that? Like watching Star Trek, Star Wars, anything like that, or
Space Camp?
Yeah.
I'm that old. I saw Space Camp, and ever since then, it was just like I wanted to go to Space Camp. We could never afford for me to go, but it was always a dream of mine. I was really, really into space shit, and I still am. But then I found out the actual work it took to even just get to the selection process, and I was like, I'm pretty aware of my strengths at this moment, so I don't think this is going to work out.
Gotcha. And then when did you know that you wanted to serve your country?
I knew I wanted to serve, way back in first grade. We had a Marine come home from Desert Storm, and talking with him, and I have a lot of, men in my family served in World War II and Vietnam and stuff. And it was just like, I felt like it was my calling. And I had joined not even 3 months before 9/11 happened. So I was already going to join. I didn't have any idea about any of that stuff. So.
Wow. And then, during your time in, like, what would you say are some of the oddest things that you witnessed during your time serving, or that you experienced?
Like crazy or like weird or
yeah. Some of the things that civilians just don't, wouldn't.
I mean, like you see, you tell somebody to qualify, and civilians don't know what that means, but it means, basically go hang upside down from a tree. Qualify. I seen a man eat horse shit for $88.
I know a guy that did that at the Cavs celebration.
We were down in JRTC down in Fort Polk, and we just happened to be on a break or something. We were out in the middle of this clearing in the woods, and found a fresh pile of horse shit, and the guy's like, I'll eat that for money. So everybody just started dipping. All the cash we had was $88 out of like 15 people. We sat there and watched him gag it down
to finish the whole pile.
He got a good chunk in, but like he was I guess maybe it was dry or something, so he's like trying to drink water with it too, and it's caused him to gag, and it's like, oh man, it was disgusting.
Nice.
There's been a lot of shit. I used to dress up in the tights, I guess, for lack of a better term. I don't remember what they're called, but like the extreme cold weather stuff. They were like tights you put on underneath your uniform. Yeah. And I'd put on a baklava and sunglasses and run around, act like I was Spider-Man in the barracks and shit, and climbing on the outside of the barracks, 30 feet up, and also just dumb shit. Crazy shit happens when you drink, man.
Yeah, it does. And then like without breaking OPSEC, what was what was like the worst place you'd say you served at?
I guess it would depend, because I'd been in I was at the first Battle of Fallujah. Balad was pretty dicey. Mosul. A lot, like when I went the first couple times, it was during like OIF 1, OEF 1 and 2. So it's kind of like the Wild West. It was just real crazy. It didn't really get hairy until like later on deployments that I heard from guys I served with. But I think probably the worst was either probably Fallujah or the invasion of Baghdad. Iraq, definitely.
Yeah. And then what would you say is one of the best places you were able to serve at?
I've been to 83 countries and counting. So and there's been a lot. I think one of my favorite places was Hungary. On my last deployment, we attached to a company of Hungarian soldiers who we were deploying to Afghanistan with. And so we spent about 3.5 months in Hungary, and I loved it. It was a blast.
Nice. And then what would you say is like one of your pet peeves or like, you know, a pet peeve that you have?
Oh, you froze up.
Uh-oh.
There we go.
Did you hear that question?
No, I didn't.
What would you say is one of your pet peeves since with like the civilian population since transitioning from the military?
Just the way they treat each other. You know, when we go off to war, and a lot of us, you know, we have our own ideas and stuff and why we're going over there. It's not just orders, but like what you feel inside your heart and your soul. And, you know, and you come back and just to see everybody basically tearing themselves apart like it was the fucking purge. And it was just like, fuck this, man. Send me back. I'd rather be back over there than deal with Americans who can't coexist. I mean, like, what do we, like, this isn't the America I'm fighting for. What is this?
Yeah,
you know?
Exactly. I remember, I mean, I felt that for the longest time when I first came home. You know, it wasn't until I started, like, I had to really force myself out of my comfort zone and start integrating with people and, you know, try and be more understanding. It's still tough, man, especially the way the country's been lately. I get it, man. And what is something that you think you'll always carry with you from your time serving?
Oh, the relationships I had with the guys I served with, without a doubt. I mean, I haven't seen a lot of these guys in, you know, going on 20 years, and or 20 years for some of them. And I still reach out every once in a while and connect with them and see what they're up to and how they're doing. And, you know, all these guys know that all they have to do is pick up the phone or send me a text. I'll be on the way. I think that's the most important thing, you know, that the job was what it was. It was a job. You knew what you signed up for, but the relationships you take away from serving are way stronger than anything you'll ever have on the civilian side. It doesn't matter. Like, you know, this is my best friend and, you know, we grew up together, or these are my friends in high school. These are my friends in college. Like, none of those even compare to relationships you have in the military.
Oh yeah, I totally get that. Like, and then, like, I mean, you said like some of them 20 years, but you catch up with them and it's like you haven't missed a day, you know?
Absolutely. Right.
And then, you know, I was pretty blessed. Like I had you know, majority of my career was reserve side. So, you know, I was in a part of a unit of guys that live locally to me. So, you know, even after retirement and stuff like that, man, we always try and plan little reunions and get-togethers and stuff like that and catch up. And those are the guys, man, that, like you said, man, that I'll call over family when I'm dealing with some shit, and I know they'll be there and I can count on them.
Right.
And it just, unfortunately, you know, I mean, had to bury a few of them recently, you know, but I get the honor of being able to be there, you know, and render that final salute to them and stuff. So
yeah, between the years of 07 and 09, I buried 31 of my buddies.
Yeah. And
most of it was from suicide or OD.
Yeah. And it's something we both, you know about and are strongly, you know, trying to raise awareness on. And I want to get to some of the stuff that you do in regards to that. But wanted to ask also, like, what is like one of the greatest hopes? I mean, we were just talking about our country that we served for. What is one of your greatest hopes for the country that you've been willing to give your life for?
Yeah, one day we'll just wake up and just realize that, one, the government isn't for the people. the people need to be for the people. You know, your skin color, who you go to bed with, you know, who you vote for. None of that shit matters, man. Like we need to get back to September 12th, 2001.
Yeah.
That's the America that like I always hold deep in my heart. Like someday we will get back to that, to where we all just united, and that's where we're supposed to be. But unfortunately, people who make decisions find that keeping us divided makes us easier to control.
Oh, yeah. And it seems to be working, you know? And then what do you feel we can do to break like the stigma of mental health and PTSD?
Talk about it. I mean, it's something that happens. It's something that we live with every day. But it's just really talking about it and just raising awareness. Like this is a real thing, especially for men's health, because like men's mental health, really most people don't give a shit about, right? And I'm a big advocate for that. But just in mental health general, I mean, you got to talk about what's on your mind. You got to get it out. Therapy 100% helps, and not talking that bullshit VA therapy. I'm talking about like a private, you know, doctor or something, or counselor that is just completely unbiased and just wants to sit there and listen to you talk. I mean, you got to get all the negative shit out of your body. And that's really what started like me getting back to being a normal human being.
Yeah. Like I went through things, like most of my healing has happened like outside of the VA, in places where I felt where I could be vulnerable, when I'm able to drop the armor, so to speak, and drop the ego and pride or whatever, and just be vulnerable, man. And if I'm in a place where it's like, hey, men cry, man, we have emotions and feelings too. Normally we got to throw everything on our back and carry it for the family or whatever society tries to tell us. But you know, I went through some things outside, like through hypnotherapy and stuff, that helped like me get to the root of a lot of trauma that I had compartmentalized from when I was 19 and I first went in, you know, and I'd forgotten about all that stuff. But it's like, it's not until we dig deep and get down to the roots where we can actually start healing in life. And so, you know, it kind of brings us current to like some of the things that, you know, I met you when we were in school together in the veterans program and stuff. And, you know, so followed your journey a little bit on social media. And like I said, last time we hung out, I think was like, was it Sonic Temple or Rock on the Range, whatever it was, you know, a while back, a couple of years ago. And, you know, you've always been an advocate. I mean, we lost one of our classmates, I remember, to PTSD. And I've always known you to be like an advocate to raise awareness, and you would do those like hikes. You care to elaborate and share some of those things that you did?
Yeah. So my walk got started in 2012. It was in the fall semester 2012. I remember walking up in the vet center, and I just kind of like, hey, who wants to walk 60 miles? You know? And there was, you know, Bill Hess said he would, and Chad Welker, both of those guys got whatever going on. But, you know, basically it was just the inspiration came from guys I served with doing the same thing on the West Coast. And they had walked like from Seattle to somewhere, and it was about 60 miles. And I was like, well, shit, I wish we had something like that here. And I was like, yeah, fuck it, I'll do it. And so eventually it just, you know, led to walking from downtown Cleveland State Campus, all the way down to McKinley Monument down in Canton, downtown. Just because I picked that because one, President McKinley was a vet. Two, the steps going up to the monument. I don't know if you've ever been there, but it looks like the Rocky Steps. So I thought, you know, climbing that one last hill would be a great way to finish, because a lot of us, you know, we get to the bottom of a really long staircase in our life, whatever problem we're getting to. And sometimes it just takes the courage to take the first step forward. and just to keep moving until you get all the way through it. A lot of people just are afraid to just start walking up the stairs. So this will be my 9th year doing it. So that'll be coming up here in 20 days or so, something like that. I still haven't planned out a route yet, but the last year and this year, I'm just going to bring it down to 22 miles, just to represent the 22 veterans that kill themselves every day, as well as, in the hopes of maybe getting people to come out and walk with me, whether it's, a block, 10 feet, the whole thing, halfway, whatever. The goal has always been to just get people to stop and ask, what are you doing? I carry an old Alice rucksack with me, and in there I have a manila envelope. And I have a bunch of pictures people have sent me and guys that I've served with, complete with bios. These are all guys who lost their battles to their demons. So when people, stop me, hey, what are you doing? It's like, hey, can I show you something? So I pull, a random picture out. And, like, this is Sergeant so-and-so. This was, who he served with, where he's been, his family that he left behind, and so on and so forth, because I believe that people only really die when we stop talking about them. And I think these guys who were so brave to sign up for a job and potentially where you could die, I think it's very important to keep these servicemen and women, their memories alive. So as long as I keep doing this, and I will, as long as my knees don't give out, I'm always going to keep these people's their spirits alive, their memories alive, just to really drive home like this is a very, very serious issue that needs to be addressed, and we need to start focusing on how to keep our heroes alive.
Amen. Yeah. So, like, when you originally were doing to the McKinley Monument, how long would that take you?
I usually did it over 2 days, so about 30 miles a day. I'd start about 6 o'clock in the morning and then walk until about nighttime, just because it got to the point where it really wasn't that safe to walk, because a lot of my route would be on like back road, like country roads or whatever, just trying to stay in the city, and or in the cities and the towns and stuff, to be visible so people stop and, but unfortunately sometimes you gotta go down those long roads with no sidewalks or anything. So it's like, all right, it's time to stop, and then wake up the next morning and do the same thing. So,
and like, where would you sleep at then?
For most of the time I would sleep at Bill's house, because he was walking with me, and it was nice because he's a physical therapist. So like at the end of the walk, we could take care of our feet and everything. But as of late, since he's got his own practice and everything going on, I just kind of was like, well, you know what I'll do? I'll just kind of shrink it down a bit. I had an idea to where I would carry like a tent and everything with me, and I would, kind of simulate being homeless, just pitching a tent somewhere, sleeping the night on the, in a tent, and packing up and rolling. But unfortunately with the amount of miles and stuff you got to walk, it doesn't really become feasible to carry all that stuff with you, because I don't have a trail vehicle. So I carry all my water, all my food, everything with me in my pack. So like, it's just a lot of unnecessary weight for the time. So, but I mean, things could change. And like I said, I mean, if you get enough people to where, kind of set up like a little camp somewhere, I think that would be really cool.
Yeah.
But
well,
that's what it is.
Speaking of like unnecessary weight, man, you've had quite a physical transformation that I've got to witness too, since last time we were together, like through your social media. And like, I mean, it's also, been a great mental transformation for you with the positivity that you're always putting out there. So you want to talk a little bit about that journey? What was the trigger, the motivation, and, how you got it done?
Basically it came around May time. It was actually after the time we hung out. Not long after, I kind of had like a little bit of a mental breakdown where I just was depressed, and I was just angry, and a lot of things I wasn't digging with myself. And then I just fucking snapped. And I was like, I'm done feeling like this. I'm done feeling like I'm a fucking victim or just a cadaver. Like, you are somebody, you're worth something. And whether or not somebody sees it is regardless. It doesn't matter. Like, as long as you see it in yourself, that's all that matters. So, you know, going through therapy helped immensely. You know, I just started walking every day in my neighborhood, just walking for an hour, you know, throw some tunes in, grab a water bottle and just, you know, bebop around. And then eventually I got into the gym and I started, you know, to learn how to properly lift. I had an app I was following, a workout plan, changed my diet up, quit drinking completely. I mean, I may have like a beer and that's it. Not really my thing anymore. So, and then I just used all that anger, all that depression, all that fear, and turned it into energy and like the positivity. And just as you start to see the changes in your body, you start to build more and more confidence. And you're like, holy shit, like I'm starting to feel like I should. And overall, I ended up dropping about 80, 85 pounds.
Wow.
When it was all said and done. Of course, it put some back on because of COVID and all this other stuff, but it's been an ongoing thing, you know, getting in the gym and just really expending all that negative energy out of your body. I can't hold on to that stuff anymore, and I feel that there's so much power and positivity. And, you know, that's something I put on social media on my TikTok, which is the Positive Veteran. No shit, on TikTok, where I just do positive messages for people. And, you know, a lot of times we are so desperate to hear these things from the people that we love that we never do. And it's, you know, it was like, for instance, for me, like I didn't hear someone tell me they were proud of me very often. You know what I mean? It was just everything I had ever done in my life, I had accomplished on my own. I never had any help. And so it was just like, you know what? Fuck it, man. I'm proud of my damn self. I don't need your praise. And once you start to build this mentality, you start to build your self-confidence up. Like, I no longer need negative people in my life. I no longer need, you know, these useless stimuli that provide no positive energy to me to help me grow as a human being, to help me be a better man, a better father, and then so on and so forth. So, but no, that's it, man. I just did a 180 and just decided, just like, you know what, man, let's spread some fucking positivity around, because this shit's too goddamn negative around here.
Yeah, man, I tell you what, man, a lot of what you just said really like hit me too, because you know, I get stuck in that place, man. And you know, I've been training for a little while, but it's like I always self-sabotage as soon as I start seeing, like, I don't know, you know, as soon as I start seeing progress and growth where I can, you know, but I'm still looking for that outside affirmations. And then when I don't get it or whatever, or if I do start getting it, even sometimes I get nervous because I don't know how to handle it because I'm not used to it. So then I'll just go eat a bucket of chicken or something and, you know, self-sabotage the progress. It's crazy.
Well,
So
something I tell people what to do is the only person you have to contend with is yourself, right? So, you know, when I get up and I'm getting ready for the day, I look in the mirror. I take about 10, 15 seconds to just stare in the mirror. And I'm like, you know what, man, you might get me tomorrow, but you ain't fucking beating me today. I'm not going to allow myself to beat me today. I'm too fucking strong. Maybe tomorrow I'll be a little bit weaker, but not today. And you just say that mantra over and over and over again, to where you just look in the mirror like, I got you, you son of a bitch. I'm a juggernaut, you know, and that's a mentality I always tell people. It's just like, be a juggernaut in your life. Just break through fucking walls and be unstoppable. Like the Marvel character Juggernaut, right?
Yeah.
Because there's not much you can stop him, you know? So just keep plowing through everything. As long as you're pushing forward, no matter how many, you know, scrapes and cuts you take along the way, no matter, you know, how big or how small the steps are, as long as you're moving forward, that's all that matters. It's when we stop and we start to backpedal, then we're like, oh, now I'm starting to get stunk of the funk, and now I'm starting to feel this way. Doesn't matter. Tunnel vision to your fucking goal. and just plow through everything that gets in your way, whether it's relationships, work, or whatever, people. Just get through it, because once you get there, now you can establish another set of goals, and you just keep doing that all the way through. Now, people either follow you or they get in the way. But either way, you need to focus on what it is you're trying to accomplish, and just put a smile on your face and just let the world know, like, you're not beating me today. Because even Atlas shrugged, and I tell people a lot, like, it's hard. People are like, oh, I've had a hard time going through this. And it's like, even Atlas shrugged. And if you don't know who Atlas is in Greek mythology, Atlas was a Titan who was sentenced to carry the world on his shoulders. Well, every picture of Atlas has him shrugging and almost kneeling on the ground, right? But he doesn't kneel, right? Life will make you bend the knee without a doubt. It's whether or not you get back up. That's your choice. So, it's just, it's so, I know it's really kind of weird to kind of have that mentality, but if you can beat yourself in the mirror, there's nothing in this world you can't accomplish, but you have to get over your own self-doubt that you can do it. Instead of saying, can I do it? Say, I will do it. And you just do it over and over and over again. And then next thing you know, your self-confidence is sky high. And then you're walking like Tobey Maguire and Spider-Man 3, just walking down the street, just bebopping and pointing at people and not giving a fuck.
Yeah, man. I mean, damn, dude, I really needed to hear this, because it's like, even this morning, I was just like, just dragging ass. I'm hurting, I'm sore, and I'm like, woe's me. It's like, okay, I had a heart attack last year. I had COVID, and I keep like focusing on, well, that was I got to remind myself, that was last year, man. You're getting up and you're going and you're making progress. You might not be where you want to be, but you're definitely not going to be where you want to be if you keep sitting on the couch and sitting on your ass feeling sorry for yourself.
Well, it's better, as long as you're not where you were.
Yeah.
I mean, you may not get to the place you want to be, but it gives you something to chase, right? As long as you're not backstepping and becoming what you used to be, you're doing all right. And a lot of people don't have that. I have that understanding. It's just like, as long as you're a better person than you were yesterday, that's all that matters. And, all my videos and stuff, I always tell people, like, go out and do something positive for yourself or for somebody. You can change somebody's entire life by the simplest positive motivational act. Just something, a small act of kindness can change the stars for somebody, even for yourself. So people just need to understand, like, you control what you do, say, think, and feel. You do. So if, you're down about something, you're letting yourself feel that. It's nobody else making you feel that. People in your life, there's always going to be shitbags. They're always going to downgrade you or talk down to you, whatever. It doesn't matter, because if you don't allow yourself to feel that, because that's negative energy and it's no way helping you grow, then whatever they have to say doesn't matter at all. So it's all about what you think, what number one thinks. And, like, I feel good about myself. I feel positive. I'm going to do something to help somebody today. It doesn't matter if it's just at work and you're just helping them lift a box, whatever, you know what I mean? But always try to do something positive each day, and you'll notice it, like, karma builds up and good things will come your way eventually,
Yeah. Gotcha, man. Yeah. I mean, it's like, you're absolutely right. Like, every day I'm beating myself, I'll let the thoughts, the negative thoughts, snowball in my head. I mean, I'm learning. I've been like doing therapy and, working with a trainer. I'm in recovery. I got a sponsor. I'm learning to redirect it before it becomes a huge avalanche now. But still, it's like, when you have a lifetime of that, your brain working one way, it's almost like, that broken record. Now you got to So somebody described it to me like, our brain's able to, we're able to rework the wiring in our brains, kind of like, when you walk the same path in the snow, that path is there. You see it all the time, and then it stays. But then when you got to, when you rewire your brain, it's like walking a new path. And over time, the more you walk that new path, the more your brain will go to the positive other than the negative and stuff like that.
And another reason why I do a lot of the videos that I do is not only for other people, but for myself. It's basically a lot of it's just me talking to myself and saying the things that, you need to hear this right now. And, over the past couple weeks, I haven't been very active and stuff like this because, I was in a funk, man. I was losing my job. I didn't know what I was going to do for work. I was scrambling, nobody's interviewing, but I've applied to all these jobs but I was just trying to just make sense of everything because it was total chaos and I was just not in a good place. And then, luck turns out, man, a guy I was working with, he's like, hey, I was going to take this job, but I got this other job. He goes, all you got to do is call him. He goes, it's yours. I'm like, no shit. And it found out that it ended up being the exact same job that I lost that got outsourced to the company. And so now I'm going to be doing the same exact job, the job that I just lost at another company.
Wow.
So, but it's just a matter of finding a little bit of light and moving towards that. And, something I tell veterans a lot when they're, in these funks and shit, and it's just like, you have to explode out of that hole, right? Got people are there to help you along the way, but the only person getting you out of that hole is you. And you got to get to the point where you're so angry with yourself that you just can't stand to feel this way anymore. And then you start to focus that energy into something, whether it's a project or working out or, charity or whatever it is. You focus all that anger and rage into something positive, and then all of a sudden you'll see a whole new world open up and you're like, oh, wow, I didn't know about this. And, oh, wow, I'm going to do this. And now you start making these friends that that end up being really close to you because they're like, I have the same energy you do, and let's do great things together.
Yeah. Love that. Now, talking about like a lot of veterans being in a funk right now, and you during your time had served over in Afghanistan. What would you like to say to your fellow veterans that are struggling with everything that recently happened there?
You're not alone. You're not alone. We all feel it. We all feel that resentment and the anger towards how all that went down. Like we all do. And I know a lot of guys, whether I talked to them or served with them or whatever, and it's just like, dude, I've got my kit ready to go. The fact that we were willing to abandon Americans behind in a combat zone just speaks volumes on how shitty our governmental leadership is. It's trash. The policymakers that we have in this country are useless. And like I said, we were all give me the call and I will go back over there. We were winning last time I left. And, I was telling a Vietnam vet, I was like, now we know what it feels like to be you. You know what I mean? Now it's no longer, only Vietnam vets got shit on. No, Afghan and Iraq vets got shit on just as bad, if not worse, because Afghanistan, we were there for 20 years. Vietnam, we were only there for like maybe 10, if that. And so it's like, nah, man, we sat here, this whole country sat here for the last 2 decades and watched all this unravel. And then just to up and leave the way we did without, and not to mention the billions of dollars of assets that we left behind. We just gave it to the fucking enemy.
Yeah. And like you said, we spent the past 2 decades, but it ended up becoming like people here just got comfortable and forgot, man. Like that ticker that's going across the bottom of my screen. Once in a while, maybe you'd see something about, something that unfolded over there in Afghanistan. If you're reading it, right. It's like I don't know what they decided. Oh, it was just too depressing to have in the news, so we're going to take it out of the news cycle. What the hell? All you guys post is depressing and negativity, but
well, see, that's the COVID thing, man. It's just you got to control the narrative, right? Yeah. Because once COVID goes away, now what do you have to stand on? Because basically, almost all the rioting is done. except for like a few select places, but once COVID goes away, this mandating and all this other shit, what they have nothing else to stand on. Nothing. Like right now, the approval rating for Joe Biden's in the 30%.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, even like they said more than half of Democrats and libertarians give him like a sub 20% rating.
Yeah, so, I guess they're the ones that needed to be woken up the most, I guess. All right.
Right.
Yeah. Man. So, I wanted to ask too, like more positive stuff. Like what other projects are you working on now, to raise awareness for veterans?
Right now the walk is the big thing. I do that every Veterans Day. So I forgot to throw that out there. I do a lot of stuff with Lodge. I'm a Freemason. I kind of I'm pushing a bit of veterans charities and stuff for like homeless veterans and getting guys together to help veterans just feel comfortable with themselves and let them know like it's all right to feel the way that you do. It's okay. We all do it. But there's some other things, I've started to like on my TikTok channel, I've got a shirt design. I got to figure out how to put it online for people to buy, but 100% of the proceeds after whatever it costs to make the shirt is going to go straight to veterans charities. I will not be making a dime off it. I never wanted to, never will. Same with my walk. People are like, oh, can I donate money to this? And I'm like, find a veterans charity to do that. I don't do this for money. I do this to get my brothers and sisters out there and to let them know, like, there are a lot of us who will still keep fighting for them. But that's about it. I mean, there's some ideas that I have in the works, but I mean, it's much further down the road. There's other things I have to focus on right now, like school and stuff like that. But I always push the walk as much as possible as I can because that's a guaranteed thing every year. I thought about doing another one, a shorter one on like Memorial Day, like doing like a 22K or something like that. Just because Memorial Day really is like, a day of solemn reflection, for the guys that we lost. The reason why I picked Veterans Day to do my walk is because the guys who are still around need to see this. They need to know that we are still fighting. Yeah. As opposed to guys who've already lost that battle. But yeah, I mean, I'm always down to do whatever. I mean, I'll any vet rides and whatever, I'll do that on my motorcycle. But basically it's just a walk for right now.
Awesome. So I wanted to ask some of the questions that I normally ask guests that I have on here. And I know you're, big music fan.
Hell yeah.
Who are like your top 3 musical artists?
Number 1, Iron Maiden, hands down, without a doubt. Number 2, Iced Earth, and man, there's just so many. I would.
It's always the third one that gets everybody.
It's just weird because there's so many to pick from, but like the first 2 are the biggest influences on me. But I guess that like Sabaton is a really good one. I really do like all the stuff they do, especially like the military history that they do and they sing about it. It's just like, holy shit, I never knew about any of this. Wow. They do a song called The Night Witches, and The Night Witches was about a Russian, Soviet air regiment that was all women flying crop dusters with, no electronics, nothing, no radar, nothing. They flew by flashlight, map, and protractor.
Wow.
And they flew over 200 sorties, dropping 58,000 pounds worth of fucking munitions. And the Germans nicknamed them the Night Witches because what they would do is as they would fly in, they'd slow their engines down, right? To where it sounded like somebody sweeping with a broom. And when they heard that, they didn't know what it was, and all of a sudden, all these bombs started dropping because these women would look over the side and be like, "Okay, now it's time to drop." So you got to imagine these old biplanes, these old crop dusters, as opposed to like the big fighter planes that the military had. But that's a song from Sabaton. I had no idea any about this, and then I researched this. I was like, holy, like these women are badass. I'm like, anybody who ever says women don't belong in the military's got their head up their ass, hands down.
And that's great too, because like, a lot of people I didn't know anything about that, what you just shared. And a lot of people, they don't look for these type of things anymore, so you got to entertain them in a certain way and educate through entertainment, so wow, that's cool. I'm going to have to go check that out. And then speaking of like songs, is there a particular song that you feel has inspired you in life that's like a go-to, that every time you're like maybe feeling down, it pumps you up?
God, there's so many. A lot of times, Five Finger Death Punch is another one, especially their later stuff. Wash It All Away is a phenomenal song. That shit just gets me pumped up because I'm just like, I really feel the lyrics because I actually listen to them. It's not just about the music, but you got to understand where the lyrics are coming from. Five Finger Death Punch does a great job of that. Pantera does a great job of that. So there's not really one particular song that I go to. It just really depends on the mood that I'm in. Like, sometimes I want to listen to this and sometimes I want to listen to this. Sometimes it's just old school thrash metal, like Bay Area, like early 80s thrash metal that like from bands that nobody's ever heard of, like Nuclear Assault and Mordred, it just wild shit. But I think it's more of like a genre, like I want to listen to metal like when I'm in the mood to just get pumped up and just motivated to do shit. If I want to chill, believe it or not, I'll listen to elevator music. I love smooth jazz. Love it. Especially like guitar centric smooth jazz. I'll sit there and listen to it. I'll be baked to shit. And, but the thing is, it's like, you have to feel music, right? You have to sometimes close your eyes and listen to the music, like the Doobie Brothers says, and just feel it. Like sometimes I want to sit there and listen to Pink Floyd, and sometimes I don't. I actually like later Black Sabbath than I do Ozzy Black Sabbath. I think Ozzy Black Sabbath's overplayed, and it's just but like the Dio Black Sabbath, the Tony Martin Black Sabbath, they're just so phenomenal, and a lot of people don't give them any kind of real credit, except for Dio. But Dio's Dio, right?
Yeah.
So it's just like I said, it just depends on the mood that I'm in at the time. Hell, dude, I still tear up when I hear the national anthem.
Oh yeah,
because I feel that note for note. Like I really believe this song. Like I really feel it. I love, and that's how it's so crazy, man. That's how I stack shit. I love my country before my kids. If my country were to ever call me up, fuck it, let's go. Yeah,
man, I got something to share with you that should pump you up. Pretty positive. I went to the Incarceration Festival in September down at Mansfield, and it was during that Saturday was the 20th anniversary of 9/11. And we talk about how hearing the national anthem tears you up. Well, dude, so I'm there, and you know what the music festivals are like, that environment, people just raging, getting trashed, and all kinds of craziness. And this is the first one since being locked down and everything. So it was like amped up, But when they got on the screen and were like, we'd like to take a moment of silence for those we lost on September 11th, and had like Never Forget and everything on the big screen, dude, you could hear a pin drop. Thousands of fucking metalheads and shit shut up, drinking or whatever. Everybody just shut up and stopped, man. And I was like, whoa, this gives me hope that all this divide, that the narrative, that the media and everything's putting out, this gives me hope that there's more of us than there are of them, And then they brought this girl out to sing the national anthem, and, hand over my heart, I saw everybody taking their hats off, and dude, it was just such a beautiful scene. And when she sang that, it was probably, it wasn't like the Whitney Houston Super Bowl, but it was one of the, for everything that we've been through the last year and a half, to have that experience, man, tear running down my face, man. It was just beautiful. It gave me so much hope. So
that's why this flag will never fall. Right, because of people like us who are willing to do whatever is necessary to make sure this stands above all. Right, governments don't matter. This flag will still fly without the bullshit that we have. Whatever leaders that we have that have been in office for 40, 50 years who have done nothing but pocket off of us. This matters more. Those people will die. We all die. We can't escape the game.
yeah.
Right? We can't quit. We can't. Nope. Everybody goes at some point, but this remains and will always remain as long as people like me and you and other people who bleed these colors are. That's the thing, man. It's such a simple fucking symbol, but when other countries are flying our symbol, it's to show you like the power behind it. This is not a racist implement. This is to show that humans are supposed to be what they were meant to be, free and independent, without the rule and guide of other people. That's why, like, I tell people, like, oh, who would you vote for? Well, first of all, that's none of your fucking business. Your politics, who you vote for, that's your business. Your business alone. I think it was, I asked my mom that one time when I was a kid. She told me the same thing. It's rude to ask. And to assume or whatever. But, I don't care who you go to bed with. I don't care what you identify. It could be a pink Karen. You can marry a bear for all I give a shit. Doesn't bother me. As long as you're not impeding on somebody else's rights to do the same thing, we're good. I have no problems with you at all. I don't care what your skin color is. It makes no difference to me. We all bleed.
Yeah.
And then, of course, you come across that one, 9 foot tall, 800-pound motherfucker that doesn't bleed. And you're just like, well, shit. Like, oh, I fucked up. So.
Yeah, man, I got you. So here's another question I like to ask. Gets people really looking back at their journey. 3 people who've inspired you or you can credit for making you the person you are today.
Number one was the wrestling coach I had. He was a football coach, like through midget and high, middle school and high school and stuff. And he was a wrestling coach too. His name was Jim Thornsberry, and he was a police officer in my town in Massillon. And I did not grow up in a very great household. I had a very abusive alcoholic dad. And so this guy basically, man, he just felt for me, but he never, ever, ever let me quit as much as I wanted to. As much as they try, life tried to break me or whatever, he would never let me quit. And that was something I carried with me for the rest of my life. I don't quit anything. It doesn't matter. You see it out as much as you can until it just gets to the point where there's nothing else you can do. It doesn't mean you quit, but you gave it your best shot. Quitting is when you realize that you're not giving your best, but you don't want to do it anymore. I'd rather give my best at something and fail to accomplish that than ever quit. So, he was a big influence on my life. Actually, a bracelet I'm wearing for Brian Long, Staff Sergeant Brian Long. He was a really good friend of mine when I served with him. He was an FSO, which is basically a forward observer. And, we'd sit there and talk about just life. And he was, quite a few years older than I was. But it was just a lot of life experiences that he had and the way he put it. And I was like, son of a bitch, man. I never thought about it that way. And it was just like, it was just very inspirational to hear the guy talk because he was just so fucking chill. Like he was just like, it was like a pothead 24/7, but the guy was just super chill. And unfortunately he lost his life overseas. I'm trying to think of another one. Audie Murphy, another one. you know, realizing the short guy from Texas who's just a farm kid, and what he did in World War II was just an awesome story. It's just like anybody can do it as long as you know how to seize an opportunity. You know how to see it and seize it. So that was something I also took away. It was just like I don't pass up on opportunities that might have a chance to better me as a human being. I tell people all the time, is, you know, life's a gamble, man. Roll the dice. Not every table's worth stepping up to. But be willing to roll the dice on something that's just outside of your comfort zone, because you never know how life is going to react to that and how it's going to make you feel. Yeah, it's scary, and sometimes you know, that fear kind of keeps us from moving forward sometimes. But if you're willing to take a chance on it, whether it's a new job, a new relationship, a new place to live, or whatever it is that you have in your life, as long as you're willing to roll the dice and take a chance, life, you'll find, is pretty fucking surprising. So that's the thing with Audie Murphy. It was just like he saw an opportunity and he seized it because he was willing to take a chance to save the life of his men. And that's something I carry with me on my walk, is like, I'm willing to take whatever risk I have to save your life.
Gotcha.
Okay. And just like the Bible says, man, there's no greater love as a man than to lay down his life for another. So
yeah,
and that's something a lot of us are still willing to do, even though we took the uniform off.
Oh yeah,
I'm not afraid of death.
It's not expired yet, you know.
Yeah, I'm not afraid of death. It's coming. We all know it is. We do, you know, hope it's later than sooner, but it is what it is.
Exactly. And then this question takes everybody back, and I usually get a lot of good answers that take me back as well. But favorite toy as a child?
Man, I had so many. You know, I grew up in the G.I. Joe generation, and I had G.I. Joes, and those were definitely up there for me. Just because what G.I. Joe represented as a cartoon, you know what I mean? It was just like, America's always ready to stand tall. And not only that, but like the message at the end of the episodes, you remember that? Where they'd be like, you know, Shipwreck would be like, you know, hey, what are you kids doing? Oh, we're throwing rocks at you know, from an overpass. He was like, wow, you probably shouldn't do that because of this, that, and the other. And he goes, you know, the more, you know, knowledge, knowing's half the battle, bud. You know?
Yeah.
So, you know, I grew up with Voltron. I grew up with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle. I mean, I grew up with all this shit, and I loved it all. You know, that was back before the internet, but we played outside. We did all this other shit. But yeah, I think probably my G.I. Joes, man, were probably my favorite. You know what? I take that back. Legos. I totally forgot about my Legos. I have every single Lego that I've collected from the time I was like 6 years old. I still buy Legos now, and it's something my son enjoys. So we do that together. Thousands of dollars worth of Legos from, you know, sets they don't even make anymore. Now where all the pieces are, I don't know. I'm sure they're somewhere in the house, but
when you step on them, you'll know.
But no, yeah, definitely my Legos, because what was cool about Legos is that you could just fucking create shit. You use your imagination, you just whatever, and you're like, check it out. And that's something I always, you know, inspire with my kids is never lose the light in your eye. Never stop imagining and using your imagination, being creative. You know, it doesn't mean you have to go full on, you know, let me make a sculpture out of a piece of wheat and welded, you know, tire wheel. But because to me, that makes no sense. But, you know, just create something. It's like, I built this. You know, it's like my son draws a picture. Like, let's go hang it on the fridge. I don't care how shitty it is. It's like the fact that you really put effort into that, because that means something to you. So you know, that's something we should always encourage our kids. Like, if this means something to you, let's brag about it. Let's be proud of it. So that way they always build this sense of, you know, pride in themselves. Where like, I'm proud of the work that I do. So, but yeah, long answer to say Legos.
Yeah, I'd say on that note, what you just shared too is like, you're breaking a cycle. You talked about growing up in an abusive alcoholic home, and you didn't get a lot of what you're given. So we have to go through kind of our own crap and hopefully have that awakening so we can be the ones that break that cycle in our family lineage and give what we didn't have to our kids. So that was a good reminder hearing that, man. I love hearing that. Any message that you have for our military that's currently serving overseas?
You're not forgotten. We're still with you. Every one of us who serve. It doesn't matter when we served. We're still with you, and we'll still fight with you until our last breath. So don't ever quit, and never ever lose faith in what serving means to you, what this flag means to you, what the national anthem means to you. Doesn't matter what anybody else says or what else is going on in the world. As long as you're carrying America's strength and honor against her enemies, you're the baddest motherfucker who walks the earth. Don't matter, because you're going to get a lot of people who never served, and they'll say whatever the fuck they got to say. You just tune them out, because you know what? You either served or you didn't. And if you didn't, what you have to say on the subject doesn't fucking matter. I appreciate your opinion, but you know what? Unless you're willing to put it on and pull that trigger,
that's the rough side of, we went and fought for their right to speak their opinion. But we got to be able to sit back and listen to it sometimes too,
Well, and I'm glad that you have an opinion. That's great for you. It doesn't mean I have to give a shit what it is. Exactly. I'm just glad that you're able to voice your concern. You're not always going to agree with people, and that's okay. But the problem one of the biggest problems in this country is we forgot how to have a fucking conversation, right? If something's wrong, if something's bothering you, you got to be able to talk it out. It's like, hey, man, look, here's the issue. This is this, that, and the other. However, a lot of people don't know you got to be your own devil's advocate. That's something I love to do, is because, someone will come at me with an idea and I'll be like, oh, yeah, man, that's great. However, and then I'll start listening to all the other shit. And it's to make people think, like really think through whatever your idea or your opinion is. And I'm not ever going to try and change someone's opinion, because that's like, trying to change the sun into green. It's not going to happen, I understand that. That's fine. But I'm glad that you're strong enough in your own convictions to say something that's bothering you. But be cognizant of your audience, and also be aware of how you talk to people, right? A lot of times I can't have discussions with people about political stuff or religious stuff or like this, because then it just becomes who's the loudest. Because a lot of people believe if they're the loudest, then they win the debate or argument. No, man, just keep a calm tone and discuss points of views, and allow yourself to be willing to see something from somebody else's point of view. And then you walk away with a greater understanding of where each person's coming from. And you're like, oh, fuck, man, I was being an asshole. I shouldn't be saying stuff like that. Or, hey, this person's just trying to live their life. Who the fuck am I to try and intervene? So I wish Americans, man, were able to just sit down at the table again and just talk like normal human beings. And if you don't agree, and you walk away, you shake hands, and off you go.
Yeah. Gotcha. Well, Ryan, man, it's been great. I'm glad we were able to make this happen. It was good catching up, and hopefully we can do it in person again soon, because I owe you your hoodie back. Anyway,
well, I'm not part of that club anymore. So actually, man, you could trash that if you want.
Man, I've been holding on to it all this time. I was like, I'm not going to throw this dude's hoodie away, but
for the longest time, up until September of last year, I was still part of that, and then I left that and joined another one, and then left
a little bit closer, because I remember that one was kind of like a ride away anyway.
Yeah, but like the new one that I joined, it didn't work out for me, and which is fine. And so now I just do me, man. And I had no patch on my back. I'm more concerned about Lodge. I'm going to be installed as a senior warden here in a month or so, and then the following years take my place in the East. So
nice. Well, yeah, man, it sounds like we definitely need to catch up on quite a few things like in person. But if anybody watching from the audience today wants to like check out your TikToks and follow you on social media and just like get some more of that positivity in their life, where would you send them?
definitely to my TikTok. It's the @ the positive veteran, all one word. As well as like my Instagram, it's the same thing, the positive veteran. And there you'll see like my Instagram, you'll see a lot of my workout transformations and stuff like that from where I started and kind of like side by sides and the dedication I put to that and to self-improvement. And then my TikTok is just a lot, like I said, a lot of videos. It's for the people who are just kind of in a little bit of a funk, but they need to hear something positive. And I, make sure that I do that for people. So
I've been trying to avoid downloading that app, but I think you might be the one to get me to, just so I can follow you.
I mean, you don't have to have the app. I mean, I think you're able to watch it from like a browser.
Okay.
But I mean, if you want to follow, I guess, yeah, that'd be the way to do it. But yeah,
Sounds good, man.
Where people should go.
Awesome. And then one last favor before I let you go. Usually when I have a veteran on, I always try and get a promo ID from anybody I have on, but especially when I have a veteran, I like them to introduce themselves at the last rank they held in the military. So if you wouldn't mind cutting a promo ID for the show, just say, who you are, your rank, and you're listening to today's Boondoggle.
All right. Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy, the positive veteran, Ryan Cary. I was a staff sergeant in the United States Army, and today you were watching the fucking Boondoggle.
Awesome.
I know that's not what you asked for, but it's just the energy I had right there. So.
It was good, man. It was good. It went to where it needed to go, man.
No.
It was good catching up, brother, and hopefully we'll do it in person soon.
Absolutely.
All right, man. Thanks again. Take care.
Thank you. Bye.